I finished watching this second season of Daredevil just a few hours ago, and I have to say, I sort of enjoyed that last episode quite a bit. Although, when I sit down and think about all the episodes that came before, I find it hard to remember most of what happened. I need to start watching all the episodes in one go from now on if I'm to remember anything at all. The last season of Daredevil ended with Daredevil and Karen Page going to a bar and meeting a bunch of people who are going to help Daredevil take down Kingpin, and that was a pretty exciting ending. I was waiting to see the lot of them go against Kingpin. But this season starts with Daredevil taking on Kingpin by himself. Sure, the others helped him throughout the season, but that help is so rare and you barely get to see any of it that they might as well not have included any of it in the show. On the contrary, we get a lot of Bullseye this season. The first time, in fact, is when Matt is beaten up by a bunch of AVTF guys at Clark's home, and a knife comes flying through the window, taking out the AVTF guys. There's a note scratched on the knife saying, "You're welcome," and Bullseye's symbol is on the knife. That scene was brilliant. It really made my day when I saw the knife, and I was cheering for Bullseye. Even though he killed Foggy, I don't remember. I've forgotten about that, and so much time has passed between then and now, I'd forgotten to care. But I was psyched about Bullseye's knife and about Bullseye himself. He's there for quite a few episodes, and through all these episodes, he's brilliant. His fall from grace, his sort of redemption arc, his belief that he's actually one of the good guys, it's all brilliant. And I think Bullseye is probably one of the best things to come out of this season. There was also this interesting thing that they did in one of the episodes. When McDuffie, Matt's partner, enters this prison where they're keeping the swordsman, she's blindfolded and made to walk through the prison. And Daredevil asks her to describe where she was. She tells him about the sounds she heard: the broken window, doves hanging out at the ceiling, water leaking from the pipes, the metal steps. Everything she tells him helps Daredevil find his way to the swordsman. And all of this stuff, the stuff she tells him she heard, and the way he navigates through the prison, it's difficult to comprehend when put on paper in the script, and perhaps there it didn't look like much. But when executed, it's freaking phenomenal. It's probably the only time I've heard sound being used so beautifully in the show. Makes me wonder why they didn't keep this kind of sound design for the rest of the show whenever Daredevil was doing his thing. They do, of course, use it when they want to draw attention to the fact that Daredevil hears something ordinary people can't hear. But that's so sparing that it really doesn't register. Speaking of the swordsman, when Daredevil rescues the swordsman, there's a little fight that takes place between Daredevil the swordsman and the AVTF guys. And this is a brilliant fight. The camera movements, the fight choreography, they work in such a brilliant way to show us a fight that I really didn't know I needed. I was really happy looking at the two of them take on the AVTF guys. It was so much fun. Unfortunately, the fight lasted barely a minute and a half, which kind of sucks because Daredevil is a show in which you're supposed to get a lot of fights. I haven't read too many comics with Karen Page in them, so my knowledge of her is limited. But I understand she gets addicted to drugs at some point, tells the drug dealer about Matt being Daredevil, then goes on to act in some pornographic films, but eventually she gets her life back on track and starts a radio show, then becomes the talk show host, and then her life ends when Bullseye kills her with something sharp. I don't think the TV is going that way. She's more proactive here in the show, making her own choices, fighting her own battles, sometimes even punching AVTF officers in the face. And she's looking for a more permanent solution to Bullseye. She wants to kill Bullseye. I think that's an interesting route they're taking for her character. It's nice to see her channel Frank Castle. Frank Castle wasn't there in this season, but it was nice seeing the man in spirit, if not in body. That makes me happy. I don't think I was impressed by any of the characters. Their acting, everyone's acting was on point, but I found it hard to like any of them really. His psychiatrist girlfriend, Vanessa Fisk, Buck Cashman, Sheila Rivera, Kirsten McDuffie, and the hundreds of other characters, they're all very okay. There's nothing that actually stayed with me long after the show ended. And most disappointing of all was Matthew Lillard's character. I was waiting for him to do something of note, something that'll change things or shake things up, but he did nothing. The character was wasted. Matthew Lillard is one of the actors I really love, and seeing him here wasted broke my heart a little. Finally, there's that last scene with Cole North, the AVTF guy. Cole nods to Matthew Murdock as the two of them cross paths in prison, and it's a poignant moment for Cole North, considering he's been on the wrong side of the fight for most of the season. He's atoning for his actions, he's trying to make amends. But it's stupid to nod to a blind man, really. The man can't see you nod. What's the point of nodding? I suppose he was doing it because he forgot that Matthew Murdock can't see, but I don't think that's the reason. I think the showrunners simply forgot Matt can't see. There are several moments throughout the show where they forget that Daredevil is blind, and they resort to visual cues like Cole North's nod to illustrate a thing. It's not something that's noticeable, but when you do, it annoys you a little. There are a bunch of other things I can talk about. Bullseye going off with Mr. Charles, Daniel, who is aligned with the right wing but doesn't quite subscribe to a lot of the ideas supported by the right wing, the futility of BB Yorick's videos, Vanessa Fisk's death, the pointlessness of Jessica Jones's appearance, Heather finally becoming Muse. I could talk about a lot of things, but these things, they're just thoughts in my head right now, not fully formed, and I won't be able to articulate them well enough. So I'll stop now. And I'll move on to my next video. And while I won't be talking about any of these things, I'll talk about something else that bothered me about this season. But until then, go live your lives. Bye bye.